Welcome to BFC Live, the daily video and podcast series of Business of Cannabis. BFC Live highlights the company's brands, people, and trends driving the global cannabis sector. Learn more at businessofcannabis.ca. Our BFC Live guest today is Clint Sharples. He is the CEO of Heritage Cannabis. We wanted to connect with him about the brands he is launching from coast to coast in Canada. Thank you for being here, Clint.
Hey, Jay, it's good to be back.
It's good to see you. I was looking back, you were looking back. I think we connected with you in August of 2020, which seems like both a couple months ago, a million years ago, and yesterday. I don't know how that happens during COVID, but it seems like all those things at the same time is when we last talked. Does that sound right?
Yeah, you mix COVID years with cannabis years, and it seems to stretch out pretty much forever. But yeah, then given if I look back to last August, the amount of things that has been going on in our company has been an amazing amount. So yeah, we have a lot to catch up on.
Good. Well, that's what I wanted to connect with you. I think last we talked about maybe CBD in the US. Does that sound right?
Yeah, that was one of the things we were talking about.
Yeah.
We were just prepping ourselves, getting ready with some clinical information to be able to bring some products to market. We were targeting Q2 of 2021. Happy to say we are still targeting Q2 of 2021, and things are coming along nicely. Since August, we have acquired a company called Optican, which we had a letter of intent, I believe, in place in August. Completed that acquisition, and now Omar Syed from Optican is heading up our medical division in Heritage.
That's great. And so that's obviously US CBD, Optican. Want to talk about things that have come across our desk, new brands. I think the most recent that we saw was RAD launching in Nova Scotia. But what else do you guys have going on? Because it's a big country. You got a lot of products, a lot of brands. Tell us sort of what the latest is from your perspective.
Yeah, we have a lot of offerings right now, and lots of that has changed in the last 2 months. Just before Christmas, we announced a letter of intent to acquire a company called Premium 5. They are a brand house. We're a private brand house that we purchased, brought into Heritage, and have launched or have continued with their Premium 5 brand. And as well, we have launched RAD, which stands for Really Awesome Dope, which is a value brand, high quality. Try to keep the price at the lower end of the scale to give people great access to extract derivative products. Think shatter, batter, think resin, all sorts of things, rosin. So this is some of the products we're bringing with both Premium 5 and in RAD. And then recently, you saw an announcement this week, two announcements this week, where we have put out a product called Feel Good, our topical brand. You saw it, the announcement of it going into British Columbia along with some RAD products, and also going into Manitoba along with some RAD products. So both of those are new, a new brand for us, as well as two new provinces picking up that brand and making it available for people.
That's kudos to you and the team, because launching one product into one province is a challenge. Launching many into many provinces is a challenge. Doing those two things plus sort of a US locking down a US acquisition is always a challenge. And I guess that actually lends itself to a question, which is executing on all of those things at the same time. Seems like you guys are doing that, whereas others are having challenges or have had challenges in the past. And I guess that's one of the questions. How do you approach those things? Because they are uniquely different from province to province, but you still have to run a company that is cohesive. How are you thinking about that as we enter this, I'm calling it sort of a new phase of cannabis in Canada, which is certainly getting to the point of sort of full-fledged cannabis retail? If we look at sort of 2021 as that sort of transition from definitely not enough to close to saturation to right sizing. Talk a little bit about that, because those are really challenging things for a company.
Yeah, you bring up a very good point. If you don't have the infrastructure and the capacity in order to grow, and I don't care, it doesn't. this isn't just a cannabis business thing.
Sure.
This is any business. If you don't have that, you're going to topple under the weight of your own growth. You'll do it inefficiently. You'll fail. You won't make your delivery times. These things are all uh, devastating for a business. We have spent a lot of time in Heritage building up our infrastructure, building up our ability to handle this growth. We've been talking about it a lot over the past year. You know, maybe this hasn't happened at the speed in which people would have liked it to happen. We're all in that boat, I suppose, but it doesn't happen easily. Building people, training, proper SOPs, proper infrastructure programs like this to set up a company that can launch. We have now 5 brands. We have over 80 SKUs. We have an innovation team that is bringing more SKUs to the table, looking at bringing differentiated products so that consumers always have something new and something fresh to look at. Because if you don't give that to the consumer, they'll go somewhere else. And we obviously don't want to see that.
You obviously don't want to see that. And I guess that's actually another question is, as we see this more expansive retail footprint across Canada, like what are you learning from sort of consumers on the ground, or what your team is finding from sort of data or insights that you're getting from what consumers want about how to address this sort of growing demand that's constantly shifting and maybe hasn't reached some sort of steady state because and even in its greatest sense, everything is relatively new in retail.
Yeah, that is a real challenge, and the real challenge is in the people who are coming to dispensaries largely don't know what they want to buy. Legacy buyers, people have been doing it for years and years. They have a general idea. They know what they're talking about. All these people who are new to the game that are trying out cannabis now because it's legal, walk into a retail or a dispensary, go to a bud tender who may be on the job for a total of 72 hours and say,
I was going to say 5 minutes.
yeah, it's like, and that could be, it's like, what can you recommend? And they're trying to regurgitate some of the things that they've heard, and it's really difficult when you don't understand the difference. Like using vape pens is a good example. Uh, we offer such a differentiated product with our full spectrum of vape pens and the live resin we're putting out there right now that people when the bud tender goes to explain the difference, it's hard. It's flavored distillate versus full spectrum, never been taken down to distillate, has all the original terpenes still in it. These are all words that are first of all foreign to a buyer and quite often foreign to the seller, and that's a bit of a challenge, but we're getting there. Good news is our products have had phenomenal uptake, and every market we've been in, we are amongst the best sellers. We have seen a huge amount of uptake in mature markets such as British Columbia. The BC buyers, they're pretty educated out there, and our product flies off the shelf. They know what they want. They know what they like. They go and they ask for it by name. And now that us and BC are on a proper cadence on reordering, that took a while. But now that we're there with that province, everything is humming along pretty nicely.
Well, it's interesting because I mean, we're talking about it from your perspective, from Heritage perspective, and getting products to shelves that consumers want. I also think, and I'll test this thesis with you, that provinces are figuring it out as well, right? They were working with the same information that everybody else had, which was basically very little. And now they are getting to the point where they're understanding if it's private retail, what their private retails want and what those consumers demand, as well what the industry can provide, as well if there's some blend between sort of provincially owned and private owned. They are gauging what the balance is between how people want to buy it, what they want to buy, and they're getting to a steady state as well, I think. Is that right?
That's absolutely right. The provinces, I'll use Ontario for an example, and quite unfortunately for us, it's negatively impacted us in that Ontario we have our tinctures in there, and they're selling very well. They sold out. I don't even think we're on the shelves for a day before we sold out. But we've been waiting to get our vapes in, our full spectrum vapes. Ontario doesn't have full spectrum vapes on their offering, and they have a whole bunch of flavored distillate pens that they're needing to get rid of their backlog of. And then Ontario has looked at the entire philosophy of how they're going to offer vapes, and that's when we get a really good opportunity to bring to the forefront our differentiated products. But they need to work through some of their legacy ordering issues, and so be it. Now it's unfortunate for us because it's the single largest market in Canada, but at the same time we expect a pretty decent uptake there, and we're we're prepping our operations for that next level of the increase, and got to honestly say we're pretty busy right now. So Ontario swamping us may not have been the best thing for us,
Right.
but it's still a good problem to have if you have to have it.
Well, it's funny. It's interesting. It's like you need to be patient and prepared and gunning on all cylinders to meet the requirements you have. Like it's a very strange combination of like business imperatives to like be in the market right now. And so kudos to you for doing it and not only hanging on but thriving and reaching sort of coast to coast in this case with or both coasts and lots of places in between as well with the products you guys have, because it's good to see that folks executing and filling consumer demand and execute on that front too. So I want to thank you for your time today and look forward. Hopefully it won't be another sort of 6 or 8 months till we connect again, because it's always nice to talk to you, hear what's happening at Heritage.
That's awesome. Thanks a lot, Jay.
Great. Thanks, Clint. Thank you for joining us on B of C Live today. We're able to do what we do thanks to our ongoing partners, including Cannabis at Work, Cannabis Benchmarks, Can Delta, Headset, Gallagher, and Torque and Main.